Hi everyone, I'm Yushi. Today I would like to do a video book review on this new novel by Master Ryuho Okawa, The Unknown Stigma 2. Maybe some of you already know, but he has written 3 novels. It's a trilogy called the Unknown Stigma series. 1, which is about the mystery, 2, the resurrection, and 3, the universe. And today I'd like to talk about number 2. The reason why I've wanted to have this opportunity actually to talk about this the Unknown Stigma 2, the resurrection, is because it is probably the most important book that we all need to read right now in the time of crisis. When I say the time of crisis, I think we can all acknowledge that the world is crumbling apart right before our eyes. If you connect the dots of all of these hazardous calamities and atrocious activities and crime that's going on, if you connect all those the dots together, it's crazy. Think about it. The unprecedented, well, maybe it happened a couple hundred years ago, but the COVID, right, occurred. The pandemic occurred. And not only that, what we're seeing is a lot of gun violence, a mass shooting, people not being able to protect themselves. And not only that, we're seeing rising crime rates, the inflation all over the world, the new wars that are occurring, and of course, the mistaken views that is widespread because of the modern day mass media. And the world is just in crisis right now. And that is why I want you to read this book, The Unknown Stigma 2, The Resurrection. This book simply is posing one question to every reader, which is, do you believe that God exists? Do you believe that the Supreme Buddha exists? And do you also believe, even if you do believe in God or Allah or Buddha, a higher being, the higher being, do you believe that He is giving us a new hope, a new warning, a new hope in the form of a warning that if humanity does not change its course now, a total destruction of a civilization can occur? It's like the Book of Revelation, 21st century version, in much detailed form, using particular names of world leaders and the world situation that we are in right now. When people talk about the Armageddon or the Book of Revelation, the end of times, the Judgment Day, I have these conversations with my fellow Christian friends, but it's so blurry. It's like I can understand why a lot of people are falling under materialism, atheism, and are rejecting the church, because it's a fluffy concept. It's not concrete, it's not detailed. For those of you who are having a hard time trying to help your friend recognize that God is angry, read this book. This book will equip you with the knowledge of being able to debate with others how humanity is literally going down a pitfall of total destruction. And to go more in details, there's actually a part that I would like to quote from this book. Maybe you already know this, but the main character is Agnes. The protagonist is Agnes. She's a nun, and she has faith, and she has supernatural powers, and she is trying to save the world, actually, by having the help of the Holy One. And the world goes through a huge destruction in the series that occurs from Unknown Stigma 1 to 2. And she's pondering on what's going to happen next. And here I quote, "Meanwhile, Agnes was worried that Japan would be forsaken by God's love if it stayed like this. God will surely bring some kind of divine punishment onto the 125 million Japanese people who are living selfishly and nonchalantly, seeking only worldly pleasures, without knowing good from evil, heaven from hell, or angels from devils, she thought. The Great Hanshin Awaji earthquake on January 17, 1995, effectively kept Japan from enjoying further development and prosperity. Thousands of people died, but the Japanese people did not increase their faith. On March 11, 2011, nearly 20,000 lives were lost to the Great East Japan earthquake and the following massive tsunami, but even at that time, the people didn't strengthen their faith in God at all. Instead, when people claimed the natural disaster to be God's punishment or Buddha's punishment, the Japanese shouted verbal abuse at them, saying they lacked awareness for human rights. Then, people's hatred turned to nuclear power plants and global warming. When the coronavirus spread all over the world, only the vaccination totalitarianism prevailed. Infectious disease experts who pandered to the government were regarded in a manner akin to agents of God, and hospitals replaced religious temples as the modern shrine. People were starting to become like ants that would be supervised by artificial intelligence. There was no room for faith in God in an AI surveillance-based democracy. Japan was rapidly being cynicized. When President Donald King of America shouted, "Keep the church doors open, even if COVID spreads," the media, which believed themselves to be the gods of democracy, mocked the president. The people also booed him for being unscientific. End quote. That was a page and a half of The Unknown Stigma. Literally, just a page and a half. Didn't it make you think a lot? You know how I said earlier, this novel will pose the question to you to think whether God exists and what he has to say now in the modern day society. And what the author, I believe, is trying to tell us is this world, ever since the 17th and 18th century on, we have been believing in deism. Deism, I looked it up on Google, but the term is used chiefly of an intellectual movement of the 17th and 18th centuries that accepted the existence of a creator on the basis of reason, but rejected belief in a supernatural deity who interacts with humankind. So in a nutshell, the bedrock of the structure of this whole society is built on reason, cutting the head off of God in politics and economics, separating the church from the state, religion from the state. And it's becoming secular politics. Everything is being based on secularism. Laws are being made on secular belief. There's two beliefs: belief in God and belief in non-God. It's both belief. But depending on what the humanity believes in, if it's whether God or if you don't believe in God, interestingly, human beings by instinct still believe in something that gives them comfort of what is truth. So by replacing God, what do they believe in? Scientism, mass media. These are the things, the wrong mistaken belief that's prevailing in the United States right now, unfortunately. And right now is right before the midterm elections. When you cast your vote, you have to think about whether the politicians you're voting for, whether the party that you're voting for believes in God or not. If you read this novel, you will understand that everything that is built on non-belief of God is going to go in vain and will be wasted and will not ultimately lead to happiness. So, to my fellow viewers who feel this urgency that the world is going through a crisis and we need to do something, start by equipping the knowledge of God and Buddha by reading this Unknown Stigma to the Resurrection. It will get you so hooked that you're going to want to go back to read number 1 and you will not be able to not buy number 3. You're going to want to buy all 3 and read them all. And this is not a cheap sales talk. Heart to heart, please read this. I mean this. Please read this. Don't waste your time reading other stuff, watching unnecessary, uninformative TikTok videos. Please read this book. And that is my book review message. Thank you very much.